Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot for lovely introduction for all of us, and I'm saying it on behalf of everyone. Uh, if I start this entire discussion, and since this discussion surrounds on customer experience, and we all are part of BFSI as an industry, and BFSI as an industry was earlier, it is the oldest industry, lifeline of the country, and it is an industry which started physical. And with times after e-commerce, the industry which has transformed from physical to phygital, now digital first, it is one of the fastest transforming industry. And I understand you all three have been responsible for it for somewhat or another. But when we moved from physical to phygital, we all thought that, oh, technology is all about converting forms into online forms. That was what technology was all about. Then digital came and we started doing the same. And then a thought process came was, no. This is not digital. Digital is looking at processes, transforming processes from the customer's lens. And that's when design thinking as in a subject came into being. It was in a subject which was not known to many engineers, not known to many technology guys. It was in a subject which came from behavioral science and people attuned to it, but we as engineers or technologies were supposed to implement it and generate output out of it. So with this background, my first, I want you guys, basis your experience, to throw some light how you have leveraged design thinking in delivering digital first business output.
I'll go first?
Yeah, please.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thanks everybody being pretty august audience here. We'll share some experiences which I personally have been building. On design thinking, there was one workshop. One of the guys said they were from IBM. I'll name them. They said we do design thinking. This is 10 years back. And the interesting part was I didn't know what is design thinking. And we were trying to build a website for a buy journey for a customer. The good part is when you start doing design thinking, you pick up few steps, process steps, and see how they can be moderated, dropped, defined, to put it across. So coming to the query which you have, it's not about just design thinking. It is any process you pick it across on the digital layer. In the last 2 years, everybody has been talking all about digital. They've been talking about a lot of process forms. Everybody's talking about, like, customer doesn't want to come to the branch, how they can really be serviced on a digital platform. So I see the velocity factor is pretty high. Design thinking is a concept which has to be done on every BPR exercise. I'll put it that way. You do a website revamp, you do a bot revamp, you do a app revamp. So coming to the point, use it, but use it so sagaciously that it really helps you. It's not that like building the steps, it's like reducing the steps.
Deepak, your views.
Hello. Yeah. Firstly, thanks for the nice introduction. Sometimes you start thinking, it's been 24 years you've been into the industry, and only after somebody reads out your resume on the floor, you realize, wow, that's an experience achieved. Anyways, so if I have to talk about, so I'm from ICICI Lombard, and we are a totally data-driven organization. And if I have to talk about digitalization, I think we started our journey in AI 8 years back. 8 years back is, where we did auto adjudication for our health claims. Small amount claims. It took us about, I would say, around 2 years to get to the accuracy that is required for an auto adjudication to happen. That was one journey we started 8 years back. And the second one that I want to talk about is our RPA, the robotic arm that we are talking about. We started that journey around 6 years back, and again that was data driven. So any of our repeated processes, we did that 6 years back. I mean, so to talk about ICICI Lombard, I would say we are a technology company who does insurance. These are the words of our MD. And It's been a fabulous journey. I'll still keep talking about it in regards to your customer experience, maybe a little later, and some fantastic things that we have done to do with the data. But digitalization, I think it's in our blood, and we do it every day.
Excellent. Prashant, your views.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks. So to start with, coming from an organization like LIC, we carry a lot of legacy and been in existence for so long. So design thinking for us is a very different concept. So we have gone through the days where primarily it is this is how we are doing and this is how it can be done. So coming out of those shadows and actually now changing the way we are talking about the customer centricity, and that was always the case, but now we are looking at it with a different perspective. So it's all about not what you want to deliver as a product or as a service or an experience, but what is it that is being expected out of you as a customer. So that is something which is very important. And like you rightly said, design thinking from the engineering or the development or the technology point of view, it's always about the architectural design. So this is something which is a completely different and a software aspect of it. And that is something which is very important. This has been in existence in different forms earlier also. So if I have to touch upon the ERP boom in the mid and the late 90s, I think there again we had a similar experience where if I have to give you a simple example, the IT folks at that point of time when you were delivering the ERPs, we used to always deliver what we thought was the best possible ERP as a technology, as a solution or whatsoever. And most of the ERP deployment or implementation used to fail. And the primary reason being not because the product or the solution was bad, but it was not right fit for you. So the most important here again, so if you have to come back, so this was one of the throwbacks, but if you come back, it's the same old thing. It's not what you want to give it or deliver, but it's primarily what is it that the customer wants from you or what is their expectation. I think that is very important, and that is where the true essence of design thinking come into picture in terms of what is it that customer is expecting from you, from the industry or the sector you are in, B, as a brand, C, as a product, and how do you kind of bring that right mix to give exactly what the customer is expecting from you as a delivery, maybe as a product or as a goal. When you talk about your investments or insurance and everything and all, it's always a long-term goal or something you want to achieve. So I think that is something which is very important, and I think most of the organizations are now getting into that mode of rightly segregating between digitizing and truly digitalizing, where you are actually going and rethinking your each and every process, which is very important to bring in that the overall experience or the CX, what we always talk about. And that's where it becomes the stepping stone or the starting point for you from the design thinking point of view.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to add what Prashant said, see, we learn with experience. Let me put this way. When you say design thinking, I would say think and then design. So most of the people, when they start the BPR exercise, they bring everything from the core system and say, okay, these are the 5 screens I want to build, these are the 20 fields I want to have on every field. End of the day, they ask for reports, which are, I don't know how many people really use it. But coming back to a very key point here, I have been part of a lot of design thinking. After that was done, we used to see the UI and the UX, how it really look. Then most of the people, out of 10, 7 people would say, "Aisa nahi socha tha." So still they go back on the drawing board. So the point here which I'm trying to bring home is, on a piece of paper, think the process, then go back to the design workshop and say, okay, this is the way we're going to design the architectures of apps, websites, whatever process you want to pick it across, and have a mindset to look out of the process. That's the point I want to make.
Yeah, very rightly said. So what I gather from all of you is that it's a means to achieve an end. It's not an end, A. B, you have to look from a customer perspective. It is an outside-in approach rather than inside-out approach. I just realized that we all of us come from an industry where 3 years back, the onboarding form for a customer was longest. So in my case, it was 27 signatures, okay, some 35-page booklet. In your case, it is one and the same thing. So, and I don't know why they have, was it a purpose of we choosing all of us for this panel? But
When was this? Sorry, I'm interrupting. When was this? 27 signatures.
so in any investment form, it used to have 27 signatures in the year 2015 till 17. There are still organizations which ask for 27 signatures on the physical form to onboard a customer, to open a demat and trading account. So now it has moved to as low as in a journey which is 3 minute 18 second flat and a customer is investment ready. So why I'm asking this question is that there is always a call that is customer experience all about UX or is customer experience about mapping end-to-end customer journey. Okay. As technologists, yes, we need to understand the US aspect of it, but as UX or customer experience guys, okay, they also need to understand the product and the process, because what normally UX does is they start with challenging the status quo. That's what they are being taught at. So what this brings to my second point, which I want your inputs on, that when you do a UX or when you do customer experience, how important is mapping end-to-end customer journey first? Second, is it a one-time affair or you do it continuously?
I'll pick this first.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I worked on general insurance side also and the life side also. Life was always complex because you had a lot of underwritings and KYCs and a lot of things. 2018-19, when we were doing think design, let me put that way, we saw why you need a document, copy of a driving license, why you cannot capture on a camera, because everything is now through smartphone. So we were able to reduce 3 or 4 steps in the whole process. But coming back to the customer journeys and mapping, you know, the biggest point here is the underwriting part of it in the life insurance. They would ask 20 things: how many cigarettes you smoke, okay, how much you walk, and all those things. There were noble ways of handling these. A doctor's report, it has everything from the treadmill test, every parameter is there. You have a OCR engine, scan it across, it'll still give you 40% rate. Rest of the information you can get it fed. The only point I'm trying to park, the customer journeys are changing every day. We all use Google Pay, we all use Amazon, and we use a couple of mutual fund services. I'm zapped by the experience which mutual fund industry is giving. You tend to buy an OTP login, PAN verification, and you can do an investment. I'm really surprised the way Google Pay handles everything. You do a transaction, search a number. This is experience. Ultimately, backend, there's a core, there's a payment gateway, there's a reconciliation. So the steps of journey have to be rethought every point of time. That's one. Second, when you get to a project or a program, make sure stakeholders come with an open mind. That's my second point on the journey. Third, data and analytics. There's lots of information available in the market. Some you can dip into Exchange and pick it across and start working it out. But the success factor is how you come out with limited steps to close a transaction, as I refer to the mutual fund way.
Deepak, your views on that?
So I'll share a complete experience in regards to, customer journey or customer centricity that we talk about. We started a journey on the cloud, and this was a project that we implemented by the name called Muse. Basically nothing but an accumulation of all the microservices together as an architecture and bringing things together. This project, what it actually does is, so we have a call center of around 500 people, which is based out of Vashi. There's another 500 people, which is based out of Hyderabad. Now, if we look at customer centricity, what is a customer expecting in insurance? Today, when he pays a premium, ideally, he does not get a product in return. There is nothing which is tangible coming his way. His only thing that comes his way is something is a service that comes his way. And if the service does not take place in time, so we've lost the customer. Basically, that's the bottom line, correct? Now, if you look at a call center, the average handling time for a call, it's around 3 minutes to 6 minutes. Because, I mean, this was, I would say, 4 years back. It was around 3 minutes to 6 minutes. Now, this is a very big time that it really takes to service a customer. Now, what we did was, we had to integrate all the systems together. Actually, what used to happen at our call center was, let's assume I want to understand the status of a claim. I had to go into the claims application, check the status, come back, and give the details to our customer. Now, all such details, what we have done is, one is we have created a customer profile as a 360-degree view of the customer. That is one bit. The second bit that we did for the customer is, there is a chatbot which opens in front of our call center agent, not in front of the customer. This call center agent, the questions get prompted to the agent of asking what should be the next set of questions that should be asked. Now, how does this help? A lot of our agents, if you look at it, these agents come in the age of, they are freshers from, just passed out from or done their graduation. Now, a lot of errors take place while handling calls with our customers. Now, all this gets prompted to our agent, wherein what he can do is, basis the action that the customer is asking him to do, the next set of questions get prompted to him. He will ask those questions to the customer. This not just makes it less erroneous, but it also helps increase the pace at which you are solving the problem of the customer. Lastly, what we have also done is, if I have to talk about in terms of ROI, so obviously we, today everybody I'm sure would be doing SMS, emails and WhatsApp as our communication model, right? Now, everything involves cost. What we have done is, our AI engine today does a first hit on a WhatsApp. And if the hit on WhatsApp fails, then it moves to an SMS, then it moves to an email. So that way, we have also, ensured there is a big ROI delivered. Because today an SMS costs around 10 paise. Now, when we were doing our policies with IRCTC, a policy costs around 70 paise. 70 paise per policy. Now, if a customer calls up one of my call center agents, ideally a 3-minute call would charge me 60 rupees for a 70 paise policy. So what we have done is, we have also implemented a lot of IVR, voice bot, chat bot, so that a lot of calls get handled directly without they even coming to our call center agent. Now, that's the value add that we have done into our CRM, service CRM that we have developed. It is an homegrown CRM. Yeah, that's all I had to say.
Thanks, Deepak. Prashant, since in the last thing you touched upon the journey mapping part of it. So I want to understand is, how has been your experience on journey mapping? And since Deepak has already touched on the subject of ROI, if you can combine that while doing your customer experience, how you are able to, and what you have done to identify the ROI, because these are very subjective matters. If you can help us with certain use cases on front-end applications, let us say mobile or a web, where through customer experience, the business ROIs have been impacted.
So, okay, so let's start with mapping. So now these are somewhat interconnected, and ROI is something which is more of an outcome of how you have done the mapping and how you actually worked on overall journey and experience. While ROI is very important, I think it's more important that first you have the mapping right and the entire journey is well mapped. Because if you fail to do that with ROI being your primary focus, you may again falter. So like I said, the perspective what we are looking at is, like you rightly said, not in to out, but out to in. So keeping that in mind, again, most important, I think the factor what affects us is being old and a household brand and things like that. The reach is not limited only to the metro cities or the tier 2 kind. So it's a widespread. So demographics change, that differs. The behavior patterns based on that. So very important for us is to first do customer profile mapping or creating different profiles, because and you need to work on the wider data set for that to come out with some templates, because a lot of factors come into play: the age, the age, the demography, in terms of that, and then how is the income group divided within that, or kind of things. Also, the language plays a very important role here, and things like that. So these are very important, and unless, and especially, at least if you talk about from our organization point of view, we are working on factoring that now, because that we had factored, but in a very limited way, and we realized that that was not factoring that at the initial stage makes a lot of difference, and it surely finally boils down to have an impact on your ROI. Because like what rightly Deepak said, a 70 paise policy, if I'm spending 60 rupees to service that customer, it doesn't make sense. The same way, so if a customer who is of a completely different profile or a category, and you are giving something, or you're trying to bring an experience for him, is of completely different kind, then at no way you will be able to achieve that ROI. Forget the ROI, you will not even be able to achieve the right kind of CSAT what you're looking at. So that is something is very important. So for us, and most important, that is why whatever we do, it's not a one-time exercise, but it's a continual exercise, and you need to keep on learning based on the entire activity what you're doing. You keep on generating a lot of data and information. So it's equally important that how you're reading that data, how you are deriving or drawing out inferences out of that, and that becomes your feeder mechanism, and that is how over the period you start seeing that contributing to your ROI. So when you start this journey, you can't immediately look at an ROI, because if you start looking at that, then I think you are failing somewhere, because you are always looking at achieving an end goal, which is more of like a very hard-bound, very mandated, and then you start cutting corners. Not exactly, but when I say cutting corners, but you start compromising on a lot of aspects of it, which may show you some results in the short term, but I'm not sure how it will shape out in the long term, and that is where you will start realizing the pain points and the drifts of it. So mapping becomes a very important exercise, and it's not easy. While it's simple, we can say that finally your mapping can be in 5 steps, 6 steps, 7 steps, whatever, based on the industry and the business verticals you may have. But it's easier said than done. A lot of aspects go into it. And one thing we always try to work is we have created certain connects or the groups of our customers or our partners to have a continual feedback coming in terms of their experiences, pain points. So while we perceive some things our way based on what we are reading in terms of the data or the information what we are collecting, are the inferences right? So these becomes an important feedback mechanism for us, and then you kind of correlate, bring in some new learnings or understanding out of it, and then work towards it. And so that is why it's a continual exercise, like you say. And so when it comes to then bringing out the ROI, it's just not in terms of the value. Overall, what you need to look at is the ROI is also about how has been your overall customer journey when you're onboarding a new customer, or what has been your customer CSAT sort of a thing. And most important, what we tend to miss out most of the time is the customer retention. How are you creating your opportunity for retention, not only what he is, but he is a potential customer for you to cross-sell, upsell. And that's where, again, so these all play. So when you're design thinking, these all aspects has to be factored very, very minutely or in a granular way. and you need to have all the possible stakeholders coming into it. And I think I'm not sure who said, you need to come with an open mind.
Vikram
So
said.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's very important, because if you are fixated on something, then I think you will not. So it's always you have to come with a clean canvas, sketch something, maybe look at it how it is shaping up. You may have to completely scrap it and restart it. So that's all about it. But yes, I think that is important. But at the same time, what is more important is the way things are moving. And I think COVID has been the biggest learning for us, which made us go back to our drawing board and change the way we work overnight. Like you said, your 27 signatures, so on and so forth. So we need to be also, sensitive about time to market and time to delivery. That is something which is becoming equally important, and agility is something which is key to it. So that plays a very important role as well. So it's not about, so it's marrying a lot of things together, and it's not a single. So it's not only like we say that as a technology, but technology is driving. But what is more important is, are we able to leverage it to drive in a right way? That is important.
So if I summarize till now, what we have discussed is, yes, design thinking is important as far as delivering customer experiences. Customer experience requires mapping of customer journey end to end to deliver a seamless experience, taking all stakeholders into practice. When you deliver a customer experience before designing, like Vikram and Prashant said, you need to understand what you want out of it. You don't want screens out of it, you want business out of it, you want KRAs out of it. So you define your KRAs right, deliver that journey. Time to market is one thought which came into picture. Stakeholders, openness came into picture. Collaboration and teamwork came into picture. And once it is delivered, you have to continuously monitor the efficacy of the CX, whether it is delivering, like he rightly said, that a 60 paisa insurance, if it costs 60 rupees, it's not a right customer experience delivered. And in our industry, I have few examples, like we as of today are a completely digital, investments is a digital native industry, okay, end-to-end digital native industry. When we were physical or phygital, and when we were in our journey of becoming digital, our conversions, new customer conversion through digital marketing with a suboptimal CX was at 6%. We worked on it day in and day out. We have improved it not less than 11 times in a year, learning from our customer. Today we stand at 35%. What it has resulted is a 73% reduction in the cost of acquisition, which in turn results profitability. Similarly, on the transaction side, when you map customer journey, define KRA and deliver, my transaction success ratio, which is the direct output of a result, has moved from 65% order success ratio to 99.3% of order success ratio. These are the KPIs or the KRAs or the ROI which a journey deliver. I'll give you an experience. It's not about customer experience does not deliver the known problems. Customer experience helps us in delivering the unknown problems. So we are into an investment business. We have apps where customers do investments. So we used to find out that every day, some 17% of the orders initiated by the customers used to go into pending. So pending are the orders where the price has not come. You wanted to buy something at a particular price, you didn't get it, so the order goes into pending, and tomorrow it's all squared to zero. So if you see, I am losing an opportunity of 17% transaction, because until and unless the transaction is executed, I don't get money out of it. So this helped us. Knowing mapping customer journey helped us deliver a product wherein we said that if you are looking for a price to either buy or sell a stock, use an order type called GTT, wherein this price will be there with us for almost a year. So the opportunity lost today is not completely lost. I'll save it using technology. As and when the price comes, I'll execute it for you. So you buy your, so these are the examples of delivering ROI through customer experience. So when we talk about customer experience, and Deepak, I need your input on that. There is one area which is being very broadly used, and people think if you don't use AI, you can't deliver customer experience, and you have used it to a large extent. So your views on how important and to what extent AI helps in delivering superior customer experience.
See, I think, as I told you, we started our journey in AI 8 years back. And then smaller bits, if I have to talk about a simple thing like, I'll talk about some implementations, basically, like a classification engine, SageMaker from Amazon Cloud. It's a fantastic engine. I mean, if I have to talk about it, you just feed in the data and it tunes itself, basically tells you what are the categories in which the customer sentiments are getting derived at. So it can actually tell you that, this is an irate customer, this is not an irate customer, this is a happy customer. Now, eventually what you're wanting to understand is the sentiments of a customer. Especially in insurance, everything is about sentiments. So unless and until I understand my customer, even before he explaining me his problem, I should be knowing it far more earlier.
Very true.
You know what I'm
Very
saying?
true. Yeah.
So that is what we have implemented across, I think, most of our applications. A simple thing, if I have to talk about AI again in case of break-in, let's assume a break-in takes place. So a person has to just take some few pictures and of the vehicle, and a stencil gets created of that vehicle, and we have all the details of the vehicle. And smaller premiums get auto-approved, where the issuance just takes place without a surveyor even visiting and getting the issuance done. So unless and until you have such features available, I mean, how would you do business going forward? You know what I'm saying? You have to have AI to understand your customer better.
Yeah, thanks. Prashant, your small views on that.
Yeah, I think I agree to what Deepak said, but I think AI, it's as good as you can have in any use cases. It's not about only from the customer service point of view. You can use it internally as well. I mean, the way we look at it is even for us when our sales folks or our relationship managers are interacting with our business partners. It also prompts them in terms of how they have been faring when they are talking, how inclined are towards the product, what has been. So like Deepak mentioned sometime, Vikram mentioned sometime back about the mutual fund and everything. So we have lot of data synergies among the peer sets as well. So we also know what they are doing in terms of with other peers and at an industry level. So that also that we can bring in and prompt him that what is the kind of he's inclined towards a product which is, or what is the kind of the recent investment activities he has done. So what is it the flavor for him? So rather than me going and talking a product A, he is right now keen on the flavor B, so why not propose flavor B and make a more meaningful interaction or something like that? Or maybe if I don't have the right product available in the way the flavor he's working on, at least have an interaction and then try and influence him with something which may be similar or maybe slightly different, but that holds some interest for him. So these kind of insights can be built in.
Recommendation engine is something which you are
exactly
suggesting.
And see, it's all about AI is nothing but how long or how rich data set you have, and how you are able to derive or use it for drawing different inferences. So it's all about that. So in every part of your activity, you can bring in different forms. Within the same organization, the same set of data, with the help of AI, you can draw different inferences, and different functions or departments can use it differently. So that's again, so that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, Vikram, your views on leveraging AI to deliver superior customer experience. Yes, I understand from that we can use it across, but primarily, or if you have used it somewhere.
Okay. See, as a customer, no, let me put this way, as an Indian customer, I have a habit of going for options. I'll go to the website, 10 websites, check the premium and then start buying a product. Now this customer is leaving the digital footprints like a mobile number, right? So how you use that number? When this guy walks into your branch, how you use that number? When this guy goes to WhatsApp and starts interacting. So all these data points are giving you insights of what this guy is looking for. You don't buy a life insurance or general insurance on a fluke, right? You search for 5 days, 6 days, and then you close on a life insurance policy. The point which I'm trying to park here, all your front-end digital assets, like your websites, your app, they have got these gold mines of data. What time I logged in. In Bombay, let me put this way, we always get time to check our emails, personal emails on Saturday and Sunday. If this guy is free on Saturday and Sunday, can I pitch a product that day instead of while he's driving? First point. Second, if this guy always have a habit of calling the call center, same mobile number, keeps on calling the call center. That means he is in a different category of customer who needs personalized attention, a conversation, not a digital medium. So you need to segment that across. So the point is there are good number of use cases. Pick up one which has a scalable impact. That's a point I have.
Agreed. So what I understand from all of you is, yes, AI is important. It can be leveraged to deliver superior customer experience, and it can be leveraged primarily to know your customer better, to service him better in case of customer service. It is broadly used as recommendation engine, but what I have understood from my experience, and to add that, we should not use AI or AI enabled tools blindly. Like somebody has used it and a product company or a seller comes to me and say that, hey, they have implemented a chatbot, why don't you use it? I should have my use cases very clearly before using AI, because AI is still a very evolving technology. What is been achieved by company X cannot be achieved by company Y by merely implementing the solution, because learning across the industries are different. It has lot to do in terms of your data availability and how much learning to that engine you are able to create. So this brings me to the end of our panel. Thank you everyone, and we have some 3 minutes, and I think we can take one question if it is available.
I will say we are here only for next 1 hour. You can interact with us one-on-one, and a lot of business use cases we can discuss.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's a wise choice, because we've got a great networking break, of course, post our couple of sessions. So firstly, let's thank all our wonderful panelists for their time, and let's give them a big round of applause.